His hand was around my throat, his voice low and steady, almost gentle, and yet I couldn't breathe. Not because of the pressure, but because of how much I wanted it. My back hit the cold mirror behind me, and I could see my own eyes, wide, glassy, begging. "Say it," he whispered. "Tell me who you belong to." His other hand slid down my waist, fingers digging into my skin like he was trying to leave proof that I was his. My lips parted, but no sound came out. Because I didn't want to say it. Not in words. Not yet. I wanted him to make me. I know how this sounds. Trust me, I do. You're already thinking, what kind of woman stays with a man like that? But the truth is, I didn't stay, I ran. I left him bleeding, half naked, screaming after me in a hotel hallway at 2:14 a.m. with nothing but a towel on. The worst part? I went back the next day. Before I tell you what happened next, make sure you're alone, because this gets darker before it ever tastes like love. I met Jace at a friend's rooftop party, the kind where everyone pretends they're drunker than they are just to feel something. He wasn't loud or trying. He stood near the edge of the roof like he owned the night, backlit by strings of fairy lights and a cigarette that barely burned between his fingers. Our eyes met and he didn't smile. He didn't nod. He just looked at me like I was already naked in his mind, and I swear my spine shivered in response. "Got a light?" I asked, even though I don't smoke. His lips curved up, slow and deliberate, and he leaned in so close that I could smell leather and clove and something darker. He lit the cigarette in my mouth with his, then said, "You shouldn't lie to dangerous men." He walked away after that. And I followed. Of course I did. He never asked for my number, he gave me his. Scrawled on the inside of my wrist with a Sharpie, like a brand. I didn't even try to wash it off that night. I stared at it until I fell asleep. The next night, I texted him at 1:03 a.m. Just a dot. That was all. He replied with an address. Nothing else. And like the fool I am, I got in an Uber wearing lingerie under a trench coat, hoping he meant what I thought he did. He opened the door shirtless, barefoot, holding a glass of something amber. "You came," he said. "You told me to," I answered. "Did I?" He let me in without touching me. Just closed the door and leaned against it. I walked past him like I belonged there, even though my knees were already weak. The silence in his apartment was loud, like it had swallowed screams. He didn't ask questions. He poured me a drink, took it back before I could sip, and kissed me instead. It was not gentle. It wasn't supposed to be. His mouth was hard, possessive, and when he pushed me onto the kitchen counter, the edge dug into my spine, but I didn't care. I wrapped my legs around him and pulled him in deeper, hungrier. Every place his hands touched me felt like he was taking something, my breath, my name, my balance. He didn't ask what I liked. He told me what I'd take. "You don't want nice," he growled against my throat. "You want to be ruined." And maybe I did. I moaned like a yes, and he bit down on my collarbone in reply. Later, when I limped into the bathroom and caught sight of the bruises blooming on my hips, I smiled. Like an idiot. Like a girl who had no idea what she was playing with. Because it wasn't just about sex with Jace. He didn't want my body, he wanted my obedience. And I was too stupid to see that it had already begun. He texted me the next morning, "You don't come unless I say you do." I should have laughed. Blocked him. Gone back to my ex who still cried during breakup sex. But instead, I replied, "Yes, sir." That's when things got complicated. We didn't date, we didn't even meet in public. He had rules. He never stayed over. He never asked about my life, and if I brought up feelings, he went cold. But when we were alone, I was his puppet. And I liked it. The spanking came a week later. I told him I'd been talking to a guy from work, harmless, really. Just small talk in the break room. Jace asked how long. I laughed. Said he was being jealous. He said, "Count to 10. I thought he was joking. He wasn't. He bent me over the bed and smacked me, not soft, not playful. By 5, I was crying. By 10, I was wet. That's when I knew I was in trouble. It was addictive, the way he punished, then praised. He'd whisper, "Good girl," and I'd melt. Every toxic red flag became a ribbon I tied around my wrist like a trophy. My friends noticed I was different. Distant. I stopped going out. I stopped laughing. I stopped wanting anything that didn't end with me on my knees. One night, he blindfolded me. Said he wanted to own me completely. I laughed, but something in me trembled. He tied my hands. Choked me until the edges of the room went blurry. Then he kissed my forehead and untied me like it was nothing. I whispered, "I love you," without meaning to. He pulled away. "Don't ruin this." Ruin what? I went home that night feeling like I'd confessed something sinful. I stared at my phone all night, waiting. Hoping. But he didn't text. Not until 3 days later. "You forgot your panties." I should have said, "Keep them." I should have deleted him. Instead, I went back. Because somehow, pain started feeling like affection. And I didn't know the difference anymore. The next time I saw him, I was trembling, but not from desire. From fear. The kind you can't name because it doesn't come with bruises or broken bones. It comes from knowing that someone has crawled so deep inside your head that you can't remember which thoughts are yours anymore. He opened the door like nothing had changed. Shirtless again, that same glass of bourbon in his hand, that same hungry gleam in his eye. But something in his face was colder this time, like he'd heard I said "I love you," and he needed to punish me for it. "You're late," he said. "It's 5 minutes." That's 5 minutes too long. He didn't kiss me hello. He pulled me by the wrist into the living room, and set me on my knees like I was a doll. I hated how fast my body obeyed. "Take it off," he said. I hesitated. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted him to notice that I was scared. That I needed him to see me. Instead, he just stared like I was a puzzle he'd already solved. So I stripped. And he walked around me like I was meat in a butcher's window. "You're too soft," he murmured, running a finger down my back. "Too emotional." "I don't like that." "Then don't love me," I wanted to scream. But he never promised love. I was the one who fell. He sat down on the couch, spread his legs, and patted his thigh. "Crawl." I did. And when he choked me again, something snapped. Not physically. Emotionally. Something in me started to drift, like I was floating above myself, watching it happen. My body arched when he told it to. My mouth opened when he ordered it. But my mind? It had gone quiet. Not peaceful. Just empty. Afterward, I lay curled on his bed like a discarded thing. He lit another cigarette, blew smoke toward the ceiling, and said, "Don't ever say you love me again." I didn't cry. I wanted to. I wanted to feel something. Instead, I just whispered, "Okay." When I got home that night, I looked at myself in the mirror and couldn't recognize my face. I was pale. My eyes had dark circles. My collarbone was bruised, beautiful, purple proof that I was his. And I hated how much I loved it. How I craved the next time. But love? Love wasn't this. Love didn't punish. Love didn't ignore me for 3 days and then send a text that just said, "Wear nothing under your dress next time." And yet, I obeyed. He started controlling other things too. Told me not to wear makeup. Said lipstick was a lie men invented to cheat desire. Told me my perfume was too loud, my voice too sweet, my smile too available. He didn't like it when other men looked at me. Or when I looked at myself. "You don't need friends," he said. "They don't know who you really are." And maybe they didn't. Because if they had seen me with him, bare, obedient, bruised, they would have called the cops. Or worse, my mother. I stopped answering my best friend's calls. Skipped her birthday party. Blocked her after she texted me a paragraph that ended with, "He's not love. He's control with a heart on." But I didn't want to be saved. I wanted to belong. And no one made me feel more possessed, more desired, than Jace. Until the night I saw his phone. It was stupid, really. He was in the shower. I was naked, on his bed, scrolling through TikTok. His phone buzzed. Face up. Unlocked. The message said, "Miss you already, Daddy. Same time next week?" I froze. Another buzz. "Don't forget to bring the cuffs this time." I stared at the screen like it had slapped me. The name was saved as M. No last name. No photo. Just M. He came out of the bathroom, towel around his waist, steam swirling around him like sin. I held up the phone. He didn't flinch. "You went through my shit?" It was open. "So you snoop now?" His tone was ice. "You're fucking someone else?" I asked, my voice cracking. He smiled. "Of course I am." Like it was the most normal thing in the world. Like it was a privilege to be cheated on by him. "You're mine," he said. "That doesn't mean I'm yours." My legs went weak. I sank onto the floor, not even crying. Just defeated. "I gave you everything," I whispered. "No," he said. "You gave me control." "That's different." I left. I actually made it out the door. Barefoot, my heels in my hand, tears finally coming. I called a friend I hadn't spoken to in months. She picked up on the second ring. I need you, I said. She came. She held me. She fed me soup. She tucked me into her couch and didn't ask questions. But I couldn't sleep. Because I knew what was coming. The text arrived at 2:14 a.m. You don't walk away from me. I stared at it until sunrise. And I still don't know what scared me more, that he might show up at my door. Or that I wanted him to. I didn't text him back. That was the first miracle. The second was that he didn't show up right away. No pounding on my door. No flowers wrapped around threats. Just silence, cold and sharp, like withdrawal. And that's exactly what it felt like. Withdrawal. My hands trembled when I touched my phone. I kept checking my window like he might be outside. And the worst part? I hoped he was. I wanted him to show up. I wanted him to take me, drag me back, call me his filthy little toy and punish me until the pain numbed the shame. I wanted to forget I had dignity once. My friend tried her best. Her name was Lila, I hadn't said it out loud in weeks. She made tea. She wrapped me in blankets. She told me I didn't owe him a response, that I wasn't broken, that healing took time. She meant well. But she didn't understand. Jace wasn't just a man. He was a need. A hunger. Like biting your nails until they bleed, then blaming the wind for the sting. I lasted 5 days. Then I did the thing I swore I wouldn't do. I drove to his building. I sat in my car, parked across the street, engine off, fingers gripping the wheel like I was drowning. I wasn't going to go in. I just wanted to see if the lights were on. Just wanted proof that he was real and not a fever dream. But of course, he saw me. Of course, he came out. He didn't look surprised. Didn't yell. Just opened my car door, slid into the passenger seat like he'd been waiting. I knew you'd come, he said. I stared ahead, jaw clenched. I didn't come for you. Liar. He reached over and touched my thigh. Just one finger. That's all it took. My whole body flinched, not away, but toward. I hated him for knowing that. For knowing me. I missed you, he said. You fucked someone else, I snapped, finally looking at him. I fuck a lot of people, he replied casually. But only one of them kneels the way I like. There it was. The line. The drug. The poison gift. And I took it. I didn't speak as I drove us back to his place. He didn't try to talk. Just rested his hand on my knee like we were married and coming home from church. And when we got inside, I didn't even take off my coat. I dropped to my knees, right there in the entryway. That night, he didn't use cuffs. He used a silk tie and his belt. He marked me in places no one would see. Called me his again. Said I'd always be his. I believed him. Until the next morning. I woke up to the sound of his phone vibrating. He was in the shower. Again. And like a fucking cliché, I checked it. Again. This time, it was a different name. V. Another girl. Another time. Another message that ended with, "You're my favorite flavor." I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I laughed. Then I got dressed, quietly. No note. No slammed door. Just silence. But I didn't go home. I went to a hotel across town, turned off my phone, and stared at the ceiling until my chest stopped hurting. I ordered a drink to the room. Drank it slowly. Imagined what life was like before I met him. I couldn't remember. The next night, there was a knock on my door. Not a loud one. Not angry. I froze. He couldn't have known where I was. I hadn't told anyone. Hadn't posted. Hadn't shared. But when I opened the door, it was Lila. Her face was pale, eyes wide. He called me. What? He said you were gone. Said he was worried. He asked if I'd heard from you. My stomach turned. Did you tell him where I was? No, she grabbed my shoulders. But you need to block him. No. He's watching you. I sank onto the bed, numb. I don't know how to stop, I whispered. She sat next to me. Because he didn't just take your body. He took your mirror. You don't know what you look like without him. And she was right. I didn't. The next week was hell. Not because he reached out, he didn't. That's what made it worse. The silence felt like punishment. Like he was proving that I meant nothing. And the part of me that still craved him? It started screaming. But that voice, the one that used to whisper crawl, obey, belong, it got quieter. Not silent. Just softer. Enough for me to hear Lila's voice instead. You are not what he did to you. One night, I opened my camera and took a selfie. My face looked tired. But not hollow. Not bruised. Just mine. And I smiled. Not because I was healed. But because I was trying. And trying was more than he ever gave me. A month passed. Then another. And still, no message. No knock. No apology. At first, I took it like a knife. Every day he didn't reach out felt like proof that I was disposable, forgettable, easily replaced. I replayed every moment in my head, the way he whispered, mine, the way he kissed my spine like it was scripture. I thought those moments meant something. I thought they were real. But silence has a way of becoming music when you stop fighting it. I started doing things I hadn't done in months. Cooking. Sleeping through the night. Laughing. Lila took me to a gallery opening, and for the first time, I wore red lipstick again. A man smiled at me across the room. He didn't touch. He didn't leer. Just smiled. And I smiled back. Jace would have hated that. But he wasn't there. Because I didn't let him be. One rainy afternoon, I found myself outside his building. Not by accident, I won't lie to you. I went there on purpose. I wanted to see if I still felt that old pull, that magnetic ache. I stood across the street, just like before, umbrella in hand. And nothing happened. No heat in my chest. No tremble in my knees. Just cold rain and a strange kind of peace. I walked away. Didn't even look back. That night, as if the universe couldn't help itself, I got the message. I saw you today. My breath caught. Just for a second. You still look good enough to ruin. I stared at it for a full minute before hitting delete. I didn't reply. But oh, he tried again. 2 days later, you miss me. I can feel it. Then, come crawl back, baby. You know you want to. And finally, when silence stretched longer than his ego could bear, you think this makes you strong? Ignoring me? I made you. That one made me smile. Because no, he didn't make me. He broke me. And I rebuilt myself without him. I never told him that. Some victories don't need to be spoken. They live in quiet mornings and deep breaths. In laughing without looking over your shoulder. In putting on perfume because you like the scent, not because you were told to. One night, Lila and I sat on her balcony drinking wine. She asked me if I still thought about him. Sometimes, I said. Do you miss him? No. I miss how he made me feel, I admitted. Before I realized he never meant it. She nodded. Didn't press. Just poured more wine. And I knew in that moment, I had finally left. Not just the apartment. Not just the sex. But him. Because the real escape isn't physical. It's when your soul stops waiting for the apology that'll never come. He once said I'd never belong to anyone else. That I was his. But he was wrong. I belong to myself now. And that's the one thing he'll never be able to choke out of me.